Also, and I'm gonna be watching the Apothecary Diaries episode 27 or season 2 episode 3. Last episode we had a bunch of indications that someone is purposely trying to cause a miscarriage in the rear palace. So yeah, Mamo is, as always, is scared to speak on conjecture, obviously, so she doesn't want to confirm. It might just be a coincidence, but we know that that's probably not the case. A concubine whose name I forgot actually passed away last episode, which was kind of crazy. I don't think we were supposed to know who it is, but we were supposed to know that someone, a concubine, died. We also were properly introduced to Shisui, Shaolin's friend that is into drawing and bugs, and it's just so suspiciously nice, which I hate to say. I hate to say someone is suspiciously nice because I love when people are just nice, but you know, considering the show and how she had like her entrance with the cat, and it was kind of like, what is her deal? I generally would love for her to just be like a genuine new friend. That would be literally the best, but I'm so scared that I think she's gonna be linked to concubine Lolan in a sense, which is already like the most ominous presence I think in the palace at this moment, just in the background. So I think a lot is gonna happen with that. We also got introduced to Lady Li Hua's, I think, head lady in waiting, Shin, which is kind of like, I'm doubting myself. Mama had like a whole adventure at the Crystal Pavilion, but I don't remember being introduced to Shin before. So I think we're supposed to be newly introduced to her. Besides that, let's see. They spoke about Sire for the first time. I don't remember if her name is Sire or Siren. I think Suiren is the. I'm also not good at pronouncing any of those names because one of them is the older lady that is Jinshi's personal servant, and the other one is obviously like the court lady that pulled the whole heist last season, who faked being dead, which Mama was kind of obsessed with in a sense. Well, not obsessed. Obsessed is not the right word, but she's very intrigued by her. So we're definitely going to see her again, I think, eventually. Yeah, I think that's all I remember for now. Also, obviously, cat. Cannot forget about the cat. For now, we're forgetting about the cat because there's already so much going on. Oh yeah, and two blonde ladies are like coming in the caravan, which is the same caravan that brought all the miscarriage paraphernalia, I guess, into the rear palace in the first place. So let's see how that goes. Let's finally start. I don't think I made a comment about this last time, but I really love the visuals in this OP. The last OP was also beautiful, obviously, but I think the animation is already slightly better than it was last time, which is cool. Oh yeah, Jin was her name. We never heard about this concubine before, right? Corpse fungus. Oh. Another one is missing. Mm. Mm. Gremlin. Mm. I mean, it makes sense. They can't leave. Mm. Well, historically, it's gonna be bad. Of course. Princess. Interesting novels. According to Keikaku. Library? riding school. Nice. Oh shit. I'm dead. No, really.
南側の広場は搬入など利便性がいい一方で、正門が近く、上級妃や中級妃が集まる一等地です。気ぐらいの高い方も多いです。下女たちが教育を受けることを快く思わない方もいるでしょう。
Jesus.
北側にした方が良さそうだな。それと、表向きは職業訓練としてはいかがでしょう。飯の種になると分かれば、より人が集まります。そういうものか。
Everything is always how she says it works. She's too smart, bro. Mm. Damn. Leave her alone. It does.
It's none of my business.
Literally me watching this, like there's so much going on, probably, but it's fun to watch. I was gonna say frog versus a toad. Didn't she still say there's a weird smell coming from the north? Yeah. That makes sense actually. Smelly mushroom girl. Wow. Not the cat. Watch the cat. Is it sewage though? Is it really sewage? The smell? What are they doing? What does that mean? Uh-huh. Was the concubine Jin a noble? Ah. Oh, so she was high ranking. Exactly. She's very politically correct most of the time. Damn. Huh. Okay, damn. So she is like a full suspect. As a revenge. Hmm. Yeah, it is really hard to believe. Yeah, Hong Yang herself.
Wrong answer, forehead.
Or her. Yeah, the rash hands were in the OP. Is she covered because she has a rash too? Damn. Yeah. She was sick. I mean, we knew she was sick, but. Yeah. Did she think Jin made her sick? Yeah. Was she though? It was a specific mushroom.
大変危険な代物です。ほんの一かけら口にしただけで致死量に達し、触れるだけでも毒性を発揮。それ以上近づかないでください。
He is too curious.
はい、すぐに洗い流しましたが、
After washing it?
その包帯の下にもまだ跡が。
いえ、他は
I was about to say self-inflicted.
実験ってなんだ？
趣味です。
なんだ趣味とは。
そういや初めて見せたっけ。探しておられたのでは。
相変わらず察しがいい。
Hmm.
突然謎の病にかかり、毒物が原因だと疑われた。人と噂されていたの。られなかった。
And she got sick after that, right?
1年前、
Yeah.
そして誤って触れてしまったんだろう。
So they do think it was on purpose still.
人が変わって烈毒を含んで自殺した。というのが仕えていた次女たちの証言。
She did? Jesus.
一見辻褄は合う。だが、ジンヒは毒キノコを口にして死んだのですよね。
そうだ。
だとするとおかしいです。
どういうことだ？
と、しびれを引き起こします。口の中には炎症も起こりますが、顔にまで広がるとは聞いたことがまだ新しいものに見えました。直接
I was about to say someone rubbed it on her?
ただれていたのは。
Oh my gosh.
いいの。
Bro. Personal space.
できれば力があって口の硬い宦官を数名化してください。確信はありませんよ。
何を調べるつもりなのでしょう、シャオマは。
わからん。だが、
I love that he trusts her fully.
あとは証拠を探すだけだ。
Hmm. So was the smell coming from the mushroom or was it actually sewage? Wait. Corpse fungus.
Yes!
Is that what the pungent smell was? Jesus Christ. Who the hell is this?
ジンヒで間違いなさそうだ。装飾品にジンヒの紋が入っていた。
So she was already dead?
は林に埋められ、別人がなりすましていたのだと思います。
葬儀の遺体は？
顔をご存知ですか？
Oh my gosh, of course.
結婚を前に姿を消したタオさんという方です。ジンヒとよく似ているのでは。聞き込みをしたところ、背格好もよく似ている。
Jesus Christ.
顔を隠せば、それが誰か判別できる。
そのタオという女官は、
Because they were tired of her? But then why was she killed right now?
嫉妬だろう。ジンヒは自分に似た女官が求愛されたことが気に食わなかったのだ。られていたらしい。いさかいとなったの。ジンヒは死んだ。途上からか、ジンヒの死をごまかそうと断れるはずもない。だが、結婚話が進むにつれて、とは不可能になっていく。動機なんて、お偉いさんが勝手につける。キノコ観察を楽しんでいたとは。
そのキノコ、どうする？
大変面白いキノコがたくさんあるんです。キノコは見つかっていません。天下そうかと。
没収だ。
No! The treasure. The one left behind.
キノコか。
Mm.
あるとすれば、どんな姿で、どんな紅葉があるのだろう。
Ominous ending. I think it's crazy that they gave us kind of like a visual for what they thought the corpse fungus would look like the blue mushrooms just now. I know I shit a lot on Jinshi, but obviously I really love now, like later on in the show, kind of his dynamic with Mama. The romance angle is still kind of like, I don't oppose to it inherently, but it's just kind of like the power dynamics make it weird. So that's why I feel like I'm pretty interested in their relationship, you know, as kind of like, you know, boss and servant kind of, I guess. But yeah, I think in whatever way you look at their relationship, it's kind of it is kind of like adorable how they interact with each other. Wow. Okay, so much happened between all like characters that we weren't introduced to before. I'm so intrigued to see like where all of this that just happened, a concubine dying, and then in hindsight hearing that both that she had like kind of a bad personality and was also kind of like a prime suspect for the poisoning of Gyokyo when she was pregnant the first time. And then the introduction of concubine Son that was also sick. You know, kind of like seeing how she accused Jin of making her sick, which was probably true, or at least it's easy to believe because we've been told that she had a bad personality, was very jealous. And then at the end, the twist of the missing court lady that was mentioned kind of like in passing, let's say, being an imposter. Like honestly, when Mama had them dig up the corpse, I was just like, what in the was going on? Like how did we get here? Like already so much was happening. The fact that Jin was already dead and it was another person, it was Tao taking her place for a year, and now she's also dead, and because of the way she looked like she'd been poisoned, the story that it was kind of like a suicide to put herself out of her misery was also not true. So exactly like Mama said, her idea is that the ladies in waiting, because they had the rushes on their hands, wanted to tie her up as a loose end, I guess, which is crazy. Also, that's crazy shit to be honest. But it's kind of like I also noticed that a lot of the time where I was kind of like, oh, so am I supposed to think that this was on purpose or if it was an accident? That I was off a lot of the time, and I think that's really adds to the intrigue because one of the prime questions of this show is kind of like, is something like an intentional misdeed? Is it a coincidence? Is it something that started as a whole other thing and then morphed into something kind of like deadly, or a conflict that might not have been there if a coincidence didn't happen? It's kind of like insane how many things are going on in this show at once most of the time, which is one of the things that makes it the most interesting. I was confused the whole time about the smell. So first I was just like, okay, there was a smell, and then Mama acknowledged it, and she said because of the sewage maybe the mushrooms are growing. And then she went and found like the deadly mushroom that looks kind of like the coral, the red one. For a second I was like, is that the thing causing the smell? But they didn't mention anything about it smelling a particular way, so I don't think that was it. So the smell was definitely because of the corpse in the end. I don't know why I was confused about that now in hindsight, looking back. Oh yeah, and before we even found out about Jin being, well, not Jin and an imposter, I thought it was really cool how Mama explained, because I definitely needed to have it explained to me. It was cool how Mama explained that Jinshi wanted to take Gyokyo as a suspect in Jin's death very seriously, which is why he obviously didn't discuss the whole mushroom thing in front of her. Also interesting, while she was naming people in the Jade Pavilion that could be the actual suspects, I think, for Jin's death, she kind of acknowledged, well, it probably isn't Gyokyo. She has enough other things to do, and it wouldn't be in any way beneficial for her to do this, I guess, or take that risk of poisoning someone else herself. The ladies in waiting kind of, the picture kind of showed like the three of them not being able, which I agree, I forget their name, you know, Ailan and starts with a G, you know, the three fucking musketeers, the girlies. They showed a picture of them, and I fully agreed that they probably wouldn't have been able to stomach literally poisoning someone. And then she said the last suspect on the list is probably me, which is why, you know, he probably asked me about the mushrooms to test me, which I don't think is true, because we know Jinshi, as much as he likes to be impartial, I think Jinshi thinks he knows Mao Mao well enough to know damn well she's not just gonna poison somebody, even though she very well could. It's just a character thing. I thought it was interesting how she didn't explicitly mention Hongyan. Hongyan? What the hell do I say her name? The head lady in waiting of the Jade Pavilion. that she was at the funeral with. That's the person I thought of when she mentioned, well, it's not those three and it's not Gyokyo herself. So I thought she was insinuating that Hongyan might have done it out of her own volition, I think, as revenge for Gyokyo, or just, you know, for other personal reasons. I guess that's probably not what I was supposed to think, because then the whole twist came in with, you know, Jin wasn't actually Jin, and the rash on the court lady's hands, or the rash on the lady in waiting's hands. But then again, if I think about it again, that was also conjecture by Mao. So what if the lady in waiting's hands had the rashes for a different reason, and there's still a possibility that Hongyang tried to poison Jin without knowing that Jin wasn't really Jin? I don't know, it's just, maybe I'm reading into this wrong, to be honest. Like, maybe when she excluded the ladies in waiting, like the three of them, maybe she also just naturally meant to also include Hongyang. She just wasn't in the picture. But I think there's something, because there's been an emphasis since episode 1 on Hongyang being closer to Gyokyo as head lady in waiting, and being able to catch on early on, you know, the things that Mama was insinuating with the pregnancy dresses and whatever. So yeah, the fact that they've singled her out now, I think is on purpose, and I think there's going to be something going on with her individually because of that. So I don't know what it could be, to be honest. But yeah, this was interesting. I'm not really sure what to think in the end, obviously. Like I said, I'm really bad at like predicting. I don't want to be too attached to things I think are happening, because if I get something wrong and I kind of like keep assuming that something is the way it is when it's just not, it's gonna like hinder me like fully experiencing the rest of the stories. I do want to keep an open mind, and like I said, just try to pay as much attention while it's happening, because I feel like it's literally just as much fun to watch the story kind of unfold itself without kind of being like, oh yeah, I knew about this, or oh, I didn't know about this, or I already guessed this. Like, it's not gonna happen for me. I gave that up a while ago. So yeah, it's still just fun to see everything that's going on right now. While I'm watching, obviously I'm trying to pay so much attention to what's going on in the episode, and like I said, this was already a lot, but it was also, like I said, a lot with characters that we don't even know. So the fact that now that I'm like sitting here and thinking in hindsight, like, oh my god, there's still so much kind of like brewing in the background, like all the things I said in the intro about meeting Shin in the Crystal Pavilion, knowing that Lolan is probably up to something or involved in something, the whole pregnancy thing, the miscarriage thing, and the people in the blonde people that are coming from the desert, the people in the carriage, I forgot the names for it, but coming into the River Palace as merchants. We didn't see any of that. Oh, the only thing that we did see besides the poisoning of Jin and everything around that was that Jinchi is trying to open basically kind of like Mama called it a vocational school to help the servants write better, because now they've gotten the interest because of like the whole book plan. He wants to help them write better. The fact that it's kind of interesting how Jinchi is good at his job, but because of obviously his upbringing, I think I'm not gonna repeat it because she literally mentioned it in the episode, like because of his, you know, highborn status and his upbringing, there's just some things that aren't part of his reality that he can't think about. So I do like it a lot that he trusts her so much with all of these types of plans. I'm one of those people that thinks she needs to be paid way more and appreciated way more. I know it's supposed to be a thing because she's like, you know, the main character of this series. It's normal. But if you think about it, she does a lot of people's jobs for them, you know, doctors and managers and all that type of stuff. And I think she needs some kind of, I think she needs more acknowledgement for that. That's kind of how I feel about most of those things. But I kind of have hope that that might be coming later. And when I mean acknowledgement, I don't just mean a special relationship with Jinchi, because obviously that's not something that's gonna fulfill her in any way at this moment in the story. So she needs an extra paycheck, a bigger room, some more kind of like authority or something. I don't know, let her keep some of the mushrooms at least. Like, damn bro, she just did your job for you. You can't let her have some gross mushrooms. Hater stuff. Anyway, there's also always kind of like this lurking fear in this show that I've completely missed something, and that there's something, you know, coming back out to bite me, and that I'm supposed to be taking something into account. You know, it's just the struggle of a dumbass, you know, half of the time. If you're a dumbass and you're self aware to know, it's kind of like the annoying middle ground where you're just like how bad is my dumbassery gonna get in the way of enjoying this show? Because I know you don't have to be a genius to watch this, but sometimes I feel like my enjoyment of this show could be so ruined because I'm just like I missed like this little thing. Chance is small though, obviously, because like I said, this show is fun in any way, but I feel like sometimes I'm so scared that I'm missing like the intended impact of like a story or a narrative within this show just because I wasn't paying enough attention or I didn't fully grasp something. I'm not too worried about that. Like I said, it's kind of like a background worry because the main focus is just enjoying it as it's happening. And obviously, also just the character focus, I guess. One of the best things about this show is just whatever happens, you know, plot wise, narratively, the characters themselves and how they react to stuff is kind of like the most interesting thing about all of this. So, and that's going to stay regardless of what happens. So, yeah, cool episode. And looking forward to the next one.